Welcome everybody to our webinar today with our Briggs Packaging Materials Issue 7 with the new standard that is coming out. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started so we can get more information, the better today. So Bureau Veritas is a world leader in inspections and certification services. Created in 1828, the group has approximately 82,000 employees located in more than 1,600 offices across the globe. Bureau Veritas helps its clients improve their performance by offering services and innovative solutions to ensure that their assets, products, infrastructure, and processes meet standards and regulations in terms of quality, health and safety, environmental protection, and social responsibility. Bureau Veritas is a business to society service company that contributes to positivity informing the world we live in. We work closely with our clients to address the critical challenges they face and to link these to emerging aspirations of society. We work with the companies to build and protect their reputations, supporting them as they forge the foundations of trust that are built to last. And two things I really want to hone in.
Alison, you're muted again.
Thank you, Anissa. Our inspections involve on-site verification that provides services, assets, and facilities meet specifications and operates as intended. They cover a wide range of services designed to control quality, verify quantities, and meet regulatory requirements. Our inspection services help companies have confidence in the reliability and integrity of their products and assets and systems. As an independent third party and accredited certification body, we provide certification services to attest that management systems, services, and personnel comply with specific standards. Equipment and products can be certified to meet sector-specific or industry standards and a national, local, or volunteer standards, or manufacturer or client's requirements. Certification enables companies to access new markets, strengthen their brand, or simply obtain a license to operate. Keep going here. And then housekeeping, a couple of housekeeping things here. We will keep your mic and cameras off for the entire duration of the webinar. We ask you to use the Q&A box. We will be doing a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So if you have a question, please just slip it in there. And in case we do not get your question answered, we'll be reaching out via email later after. And then we will be recording this webinar as well. And we'll be getting that out to you later after as well. All right, and I'm really excited to introduce to you our speakers today. We have Jyoti Stahavarasambude. She is our BRC certified instructor here at BV, and she's also one of our auditors. And then we have Anissa Abinori, who is our BV technical food manager for certification. So I'm really excited about this, topic. It's something new, it's going to be big. So without any further ado, we'll have Jyoti take over.
Thanks, Allison. Let me just share my slides. Sorry, it just takes me a minute. Oops. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today to talk about the changes in issue 7 of the BRCGS Packing Materials Standard.
Can you please turn your camera on real quick?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
There. So I'm going to talk to you about what's new in issue 7. As you know, every few years, BRCGS updates the standard to look at new things that are happening in the industry and managing the requirements of the GFSI benchmarking.
Jyoti, I don't know if you can hear me, but I believe you might be frozen. Anissa, would you like to go instead? Maybe we can get Joy-T back on here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so give me 1 sec to share my slides. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Happy to be there today to talk about this transition in BRCGS Packaging Materials Issue 7. So we will have after Jyoti, who will talk about the new updates in the scheme, new requirements, what is new, and she will go through all these updates. And from my side, I will talk to you about the audit itself. So I'm Anissa Abdenouri. I'm the technical manager for the food program in North America, in Bureau Veritas North America, and in charge for our certification body of the this transition against issue 7. So my presentation will be focused on the audit protocol. So there is some new, some changes in the issue 7, but oh, this is not my slide.
I'm coming back. Sorry.
Joy-T, we're going to have Anissa go right now, and then we're going to get you on after.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
No worries, Jyoti. So I'm taking back the sharing. So I will talk about the audit protocol, as I said, and there is some changes, no big changes in audit protocol. There is no change in NC closure. It's it's always the 28 days to close your NCs. There is no change in certification decision KPIs for certification body, no impact on your audit duration for this new version, but there is some little changes that we will see today. So first thing, the audit options. So the biggest change in this new version is a new audit option that is now available in BRCGS issue 7, Packaging Materials issue 7, which is the blended audit. So we'll go through quickly all through these options. So the first one is announced audit. It's the classic one. The announced audit, you're aware of the date, you are prepared for the day of the audit. This is the classic way to do the audit. It's also the way that you will do your initial audit if you're not certified yet. But when you choose this audit option, you will have in any case to do the one unannounced audit every 3 years. So this is not something new. It was the same case against issue 6, but just a reminder, you have this unannounced mandatory every 3 years. And I will talk about this later, about this unannounced protocol. Then you have the blended audit. Blended audit is the new option. What is a blended audit? It's an audit split in 2 parts. The first one is a remote audit, and the second one will be on site. The remote part is always at the beginning, and then it will be followed up by the on-site audit. Sorry. So the blended audit is offered by your certification body, but based on a risk assessment. So that means in some situation, we are not able to complete a blended audit. So each case is analyzed by your certification body, depending on the maturity on the site. If we observed in the previous year some issues in the site, maybe we'll not be able to proceed with a blended audit. But this blended audit will allow you to have up to 50% of your audit done remotely. And to know which part of the standard will be assessed remotely by the auditor, you have a color coding in the standard. All requirements in yellow will be assessed on site by the auditor, and all requirements in blue can be assessed remotely by your auditor. And of course, some requirements need to be assessed during both parts. So this option will not prevent you to have the unannounced audit. So if you choose the blended audit, you still have to complete an unannounced audit every 3 years. And the third option is the unannounced audit, which is voluntary this time. So that means all your audit will be done unannounced. So you're not aware of the exact date. Of course, you have a period, you have the window, the audit window, which is 4 months prior the audit due date. And during this period, the auditor can come on site to complete the audit without notice. And you can, of course, block some dates up to 10 days with your certification body, but these days should be approved by your certification. This should be justified and approved by your certification body. For example, if you're on vacation, this is not a good justification. This will not be approved. So these are the three option audits. So the new one again for issue 7 is the blended audit option. So let's talk about now the transition audit. So what is a transition audit? This is the audit that allow you to have the new certificate, the certificate against the new version. So during the next year, you will have your transition audit. You will have the audit that will allow you to have the issue 7 certificates. So as a reminder, audit against issue 7 will start in April 28th of this year. So all audit done after this date is will be against issue 7. If your audit is scheduled before this date, it will be against issue 6. And this transition period will be for 1 year. So that means all sites need to be certified against the new version before April 27th of 2026. And information that is important, if your audit starts in 27th of April and finished after the application date, this will be against issue 6, because in BRCGS we consider the start of the audit as a reference. So for this transition audit, if you're due for an announced audit, example, this you are in the first option, announced audit with one unannounced every 3 years. If this year is your unannounced audit year, then you need to do the transition within an unannounced year. So your window can be before the application date or after. If it's in between, then it's up to your certification body to decide of the date, of course. And so if you will be audited against the issue 6 or the issue 7, the expectation is you are ready to be audited against issue 7. And if you are in the situation where you have a head office audit, then it's the same rule. If your head office audit is before April 28, then it will be against issue 6. If it's after, it will be against issue 7. But if you are in the case where your head office audit is before, so against issue 6, but your site is after the transition date, so against issue 7, then the new requirements of issue 7 that were not audited during the head office audit will be audited during the site audit. So the auditor will need to assess the specific head office requirements against issue 7 during the site audit. Some changes also on auditor selections. Of course, the auditor qualification is also upgraded with this transition. So all auditors need to be trained against this new version, and they can't perform any audits before if they are not trained. And the good news is at BVCNA, all our auditors are now fully trained against the new version and are ready to go with audits against issue 7. And the other news is about the consecutive audits. So right now, until April 28, the auditor can come on site 3 consecutive years. That will change after the transition. They will be able to do up to 5 consecutive audits. And this is specific to the packaging materials issue 7 audits. Some other information that are important to share. So the BRCGS packaging materials issue 7 is available on the BRCGS website and is now available in different languages. So English, Chinese, Spanish, and Italian. Other documentation that can be also helpful for you is the auditor checklist and site self-assessment tool that will, so it's also available in BRCGS website in the same languages. And this will give you the opportunity to have this self-assessment to see if you're ready for your audit as well. And if you need extra help after this self-assessment, we are happy to propose a conversion training for sites already certified. So it's a one-day conversion training that will be that is scheduled in April 15th of this year, so next month, and it will be done by our ATP trainer for BRCGS packaging, Jyoti. We can also propose, of course, if you are a new site, not certified again yet, we can also propose a 2 days training for you before your initial audit. So for some other information about this training. So as I said, it's scheduled for April 15th. It's a virtual course of 1 day. So Alison will probably send this information and give you the link for the registration. And we are happy to give you this code that you have here that will give you 20% off on the rate of this training. So this training will help you to understand all what Jyoti will talk about today. So she will give you the updates, and during the training, she will go through each new requirements, each updates more deeply, and help you to understand what is expected for your audit against issue 7. So those are the objectives. Jyoti will go through all the standard, all the new requirements to explain what is expected, and not only the requirements, but also the audit protocol itself. And so that's was about the audit protocol. So a few words on common NCs. So BRCGS shared the most common NCs, all CBs. So this is worldwide and all CBs. And those are the main NCs raised. I will not go through each requirements, but again, this is also part of the training that will be done in April. Jyoti will go through all these common NCs and give you some insight to understand what is expected, so that you will not be in this case of NCs raised. And just for your information, these are our top 5 NCs at BVCNA. So they are not exactly the same, but so pest proofing, product recall, withdrawal test, cleaning procedures. So those are our BVCNA top 5 NCs in 2024. Obviously, it's not against issue 7, and it doesn't start yet. It's against issue 6, but you will see that most of the requirements remain the same. And that's it for me. So I was supposed to close this with the Q&A, but I will let Jyoti talk about the updates on the requirements, and then we'll go back on Q&A.
Thank you, Anissa. So hopefully this time I won't get kicked out of the meeting. So let me just set my presentation up again. So as Anissa said, I'm going to talk about the changes in the requirements for issue 7. I'm not going to talk about all the changes because there are multiple little changes. I'm really going to talk about the major changes. Before I was interrupted, I was talking about the GFSI benchmarking. So HERA now needs to be based either on Codex Elementaris or a globally recognized system. And so the HERA section has been updated. We'll talk about that in a little more detail in a minute, where the standard has enhanced product safety and quality culture, including the single-use disposable products Increased focus on allergen management. That used to be a position statement. Introduction of blended audits and the use of ICT that Anissa has already talked about. Ensuring, of course, that the GFSI benchmarking requirements are met. Looking to improve the consistency of the audit process and changes to supplier approval to simplify expectations within the supply chain. So the scope of the standard has had one addition. So it includes prior operations, the manufacture of products and materials for conversion or printing, operations that supply product and materials from stock where additional processing or repacking occurs, and the manufacturing and supply of other unconverted or semi-converted and used or incorporated products. And the new change, inclusion of disposable single-use products using similar packaging technologies. But you must remember that in order to be covered by the standard, the site must be predominantly producing packaging materials. So at least 70% by volume must be other products. And the standard does not apply to products that do not undergo any manufacturing process at the site audited, with the exception of traded goods. Anissa has already talked about the audit options, so I will not talk about that further. Let's now get into some of the details of the changes. So clause 112, product safety culture. As you know, auditors are not expected to audit product safety culture, but they're looking for evidence of compliance with the requirements. So what the auditor will do will look at the conformity to the clause, as well as talking to senior managers, employees, and to see what is being done to achieve a positive change in the culture. And so what they're going to do is look at a review of the documented plan and records. So does it include communication of product safety to all employees? Does it include training? Does it include mechanism for feedback from employees and showing positive behaviors and measuring performance? So the standard requires that a site have an action plan that is implemented. It is reviewed for effectiveness at management meetings and updated at least annually. If you are if this would be your initial audit, then we would not expect a review of effectiveness, because you can't complete a review until some of the actions have been implemented. The next section is section 2, the hazard analysis and risk assessment. The big change here is that the whole section is now a fundamental. So what we've added is the team requirements have been included in the fundamental. So section 2.2, a requirement for prerequisite programs has been added. There is in 233 many sources of information that must be referenced in the plan, and there are more examples of relevant information sources. 251, you now need to include the limitations of use. For example, for use in a microwave but not an oven, for ambient storage but not chilled or frozen, single wall cups used for hot liquids when designed for cold liquids, and if things are to be permitted for direct contact with food, beverages, cosmetics. And then 251 is just a reference to including all sites must include the risks due to allergen contamination. 261, the references to critical control points has been taken out and changed to critical control measures. 210.1, there are new requirements for validations of the HERA prior to any changes that may affect product safety. So what we want to see from the auditor would like to see is that the HERA has been validated before the changes went into place. And then the auditors are also to observe the monitoring activities of the critical control measures. The next section that has significant change is 3.6, supplier approval. So the approval process has been clarified. It includes raw materials, finished product packaging, and outsourced intermediate manufacturing steps. So it includes, in line with the food standard, valid certification to globally recognized product safety or quality management systems that includes assessment of traceability and confirmation of legality and safety. So that can also include a declaration of compliance, or you can do supplier audits. You can have your supplier give you a self-audit questionnaire, but that must be reviewed by a competent person on site that understands that process. And we must do some monitoring. So what are the performance criteria that you will monitor your suppliers with? So the next one is a new section, 494, on allergen management. This was previously a position statement. So all sites are required to have an allergen management plan where the potential for contamination from allergen or intrinsic allergen components have been identified. Because some types of paperboard and plastic packaging may contain soy-derived glues or resins, wheat-derived starches, casein-derived coatings, additives, and latex may be included in some types of food packaging for example, rubber bands, meat netting, some stickers. So therefore, you need to do a good assessment of your incoming materials. As well, in food and non-food applications, certain materials may be encapsulated with fragrances or scents, and therefore we must be aware of those as well. So again, must be reviewed based on risk and appropriate controls implemented. The controls can include training, raw material specifications, how the allergen materials are segregated, and how they're handled. The next topic is manufacturing process control. And auditors are to review a changeover in the products that you're producing. So please consider that when planning your audit and what you're going to run the days that the auditor is there. 542 has been expanded to include all quality defects, not just printing. 546, there is a need now to evaluate the quality status in the event of equipment failure. 547, 548, and 5410 are new clauses. So you must retain samples of products for a defined period in 548, and you need to consider how and where the samples are taken, labeling and identification and storage of those samples. As I mentioned, 549, you must have line clearance procedures, and the auditor must see those. There can be a reason that they don't see a changeover, but then you would have to discuss that. And that might be that you only run one product for long periods of time. And 5410, out of scope products, material, or areas shall be controlled to prevent risk to safety, legality, and quality. And this must be assessed by the auditor. They can look at those areas and those products to ensure that they are controlled and there are no risks. So just two other comments is functional packaging should be considered. And if you must have validations in place, for example, if your packaging is to control or extend shelf life, monitor freshness, provide tamper evidence, etc., you must have some validation that you can meet those requirements. And the other thing I wanted to mention was in internal audits, they must now be spread throughout the year. Thank you very much for your attention. And now I think we can turn it back to Allison for questions.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate your time. Yes, we do have a few questions here. So we're going to go ahead and jump on in. So the first question is, can you provide examples of single-use disposable products? When would a single-use disposable product be included in the scope of an audit? So Joy, do you want to go ahead and answer that one?
Certainly. Certainly. So a single-use disposable product could be a cup. It could be a, now that we, plastic forks and spoons, things like that, that you might be making. Then we talked about the coffee cups and things like that. They can only be included if they are manufactured on site and that 70% of your production is other packaging materials. So they cannot be the bulk of your production. If it is the bulk, then you would fall under the consumer products standard. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then Anise, I think I have one for you here. Can we request to have an audit done against a specific version when the audit window covers both versions? The window starts before April 28th and it ends after this date.
So it will depend of the option you choose. So for example, if you're in the announced option, then you can agreed with about the date with their certification body and request to be audited against a version of another. But if you are in an unannounced year, you are not aware of the date and it's up to the CB to determine when you will be audited. So that means you can't request to the certification body to be certified against a specific version, because that means you will reduce the window of the unannounced audit. So yes and no, depending on the situation, depending on the option you choose.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, we do have one more question here. Where the words documented have been removed from the standard, our documented procedures will require. Joy, do you want to answer that one?
Yes. Thank you. That is a very good question. In the past, the standard often said documented procedures, sometimes it didn't. So in order for consistency, the word documented has been taken out, but all procedures and policies must be documented. As you know, if something isn't recorded or documented in the auditor's eyes, it doesn't exist. So all policies and procedures must be documented. Thank you.
Okay, great, great, great. And then, Anissa, I have one here. Can we change the CB during the transition year?
Oh, yes, you can, depending on when you are in the year. I mean, if you are in an unannounced audit year, or if you're voluntary unannounced audit option, then you can't change the CB during the window. So the 4 months before the audit due date, you can't change the CB. But if you are in in announced option, or if you are outside of the window, then yes, you can change the CB even if you are in transition, if it's your transition audit.
Okay. Great, great. So I do just want to go over one thing before we end our webinar today, is this course that Anissa was talking about when she was presenting. I am sharing my screen on it right now. It's our conversion course on the subject matter of the packaging materials, issue 7. It's a one-day course, April 15th. It is starting to fill up pretty quickly, and we can only have a max amount of people signed up for it. So I did go ahead and put the link into the chat here. I'll also send in the follow-up email. You will be receiving 20% off if you sign up. So it's really important that we get people signed up sooner than later, just because we only have 12 spots available. And if we need to do another course, we can, but just want to make sure that there is a limited space. Okay. So ladies, thank you so much for today's webinar. I really do appreciate your time. A lot of great knowledge here.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.